given the critical role played by the business community in the development process of ACP countries in general, and of course Malawi in particular, in terms of job creation and contribution to welfare, it is a great pleasure that I welcome your important delegation composed of senior officials from government, businessmen, and professionals of Malawi.
The Embassy of the Republic of Malawi organized a one-day workshop aimed at familiarizing a delegation of experts with relevant issues, including funding and export market facilitation. The workshop took place in Brussels on May 7, 2012, at Microsoft Executive Briefing Center. The delegation was composed of high-level representatives of national private sector development institutions and leaders from a wide spectrum of exporting companies.
We as a government are looking at how we can move forward to diversify the economy, both in terms of markets and products. Most of our exports are in the form of primary commodities, with tobacco dominating the export package. And as you're aware, there is a very strong lobby in terms of tobacco smoking, and that has severely affected, partly affected the demand for tobacco. Now, in that vein, we have to look for alternative products.
We've already identified what Malawi is good at in our drive to broaden the export base. So we've already identified basically what we'll be looking for is investment money to actually go in those areas that we've identified, so that we're able to diversify the economy, particularly with dwindling of donor inflows, as well as a poor performance of tobacco. We have to develop other avenues to generate the much needed foreign exchange. We are here to identify markets for other commodities. We haven't brought exporters of tobacco in the delegation. We've brought exporters of other commodities like fruits and vegetables, which we believe we can export because our seasons are different. We can grow when Europe is not growing and export. We've brought exporters of timber, for example. We haven't exported timber to Europe, and we believe there's a scope for Malawi to actually go into timber.
In some of these countries, we have very high quality standards which we have to conform to. And to some extent, in other places, you find that the standards have become almost non-tariff barriers. And also that defeats the agenda of trying to diversify and export.
We are here also to look at what are the quality issues that Europe is looking for, labeling issues, certification issues, so that when we go back, we're able to produce what Europe is looking for. So basically, one such strategy is that we want to have targeted trade and investment missions where we go and see what our markets are looking for.
Malawi is a landlocked country. As we talk, 60% of whatever we export or import constitutes transport costs. So we need to unblock or unlock that challenge. And it is quite difficult. We in the region are trying to come up with infrastructural programs within SADC and the COMESA frameworks so that the routes to the sea operate efficiently, and in that way we believe that we can significantly reduce the cost of transport.
We are moving from a point of subsistency towards commercialization to really now drive this agenda. I think moving people from the subsistence orientation of doing agriculture to a commercial, it's still a challenge because I think it deals with issues of changing attitudes and mindsets. We have the desire, the drive to move towards subsistence to commercialization. So there are a number of activities, initiatives that are supposed to be built within this area to move towards that. I would say that, for instance, a trip of this nature that we have come here, it's part of the initiative the country is taking strategically to make sure that we move towards commercialization.
In Malawi, a lot of women are subsistence farming, but we want to encourage commercial farming. And for commercial farming to be productive, we will need a lot of implements. We are just ordinary laborers and using our traditional machinery in order to do our farming. But now there's a need to find farm inputs to commercialize our agriculture. Yes, we want to penetrate the European market, but other markets are there as well, because we found out that we grow a lot of rice, pigeon peas, and soya. Rice is very well demanded in the Asian countries. It's also maybe in Europe as well. We grow groundnuts. Groundnuts is a very, very good nut which is liked by a lot of countries. And this is easily grown by a lot of farmers in Malawi because there's good soil for that. And then there's the soya bean itself. The soya, we can either use it in Malawi, but we also can export it. But to use it in Malawi, we also need to go into food processing.
I'm very optimistic because there is commitment by the government, but also you see the drive from the different players, the different actors in the value chain to engage more, especially with a commercialization agenda, because that's where I think we really need to emphasize most. We really need to really move from this subsistence to commercial and penetrate the export markets. So what we need to do as a country, what I see it happening is the expansion of the export potential of the country. But obviously, I think looking at the global markets, you talk of competition. So we really need to build our competitiveness as a country with the rest of the world to make sure that our products or our doing of business becomes more competitive at a global market.
The future of Malawi is very promising. It's bright at the moment. As you're aware, what is quite very impressive about Malawi is that Malawi has, consistently been a stable economy, peacefully, politically, economically, and socially. I think gives the world the assurance that the place to go is Malawi, and our new government is committed to reversing, the serious economic challenges that were in Malawi, and that's why we are here, and we will intensify our efforts to woo investors and make Malawi the most attractive and preferred destination.